Today, it's not about exposing what we need to see. It's about pretending what they want you to see. It's all extreme all the time, with people wanting you to believe what they tell you. What happened?
And even outside the worst of social media, even on more traditional outlets, to put it that way, they are looking for what fits the narrative. Now, it's much less consequential than what we're talking about today, but every public figure, if you said to them, your children's happiness depends upon it, or if you ace the following, it'll bring about world peace. Both of us and everybody who's been a public figure in this era could come back with 100 things about them that they found just in the ensuing 24 hours that are not like, he sucks, that's just a stupid opinion, but that are factually false, objectively false. But there are no guidelines anymore. Look, the so-called legacy media, of course it was flawed. It continues to be flawed. But there are standards. Whether they fall short of them on occasion is not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is there is some accountability. There are some standards. In the grand morass of the internet, there are no standards.
Right. It's just,
generally speaking.
It's just popular. Well, obviously, there are always exceptions to it. There's some people doing great work.
Yeah.
Substack and other places.
Oh, of course.
That's good things.
That's fantastic.
But it's what the currency is. The coin of the realm, Mr. Costas, I would suggest to you, is extremism. And that it's got to be owning you, destroying you.
That's right.
Here's a picture of Costas. He didn't even know what to say.
Yeah.
He was, and that aggression, I believe, is getting projected out there, and everyone is acting on it. And I don't think it's a coincidence that we see people killing to advance political agendas.
Well, let's address that in a moment, but just to another part of what you just said, there are already academic studies that show that the more inciting, not insightful, but inciting the clickbait headline is, the more traffic. If, for example, this conversation was to somehow wind up online, and the caption was, Costas, Cuomo have interesting conversation. That doesn't get my, but Costas owns Cuomo, Cuomo owns Costas, Cuomo schools Costas, whether or not that actually is in accord with what the tone and content of the conversation was. I have seen clips from the very same conversation where so-and-so is said to be getting schooled and is also schooling, depending upon which narrative appeals to the perceived audience of this particular site or sometimes this particular network.
Now, I would say, yeah, of course, a version of that has always been the case. Yellow journalism, sensationalism, those types of things. Of course, but not to the degree. And the degree matters because we used to be afraid post 9/11. The extremists were coming from without. They were coming here to destroy our way of life. The extremism is now within. The last several political murders we've seen, that's what I call them. You can call it terrorism, I guess, but they're all domestic. And they're all people who get echoes of sympathy and support online for what they did, just like this last guy in Manhattan.
I don't know. I haven't followed it because Ryan Sandberg's death has actually occupied much of my time on the Baseball Network and other outlets over the last 24 hours. But I haven't seen, you can school me on this, I haven't seen many people justifying what this guy did just because they think that football might be injurious to people.
They don't justify it per se. What they do is, like we saw with the healthcare CEO, this is what you get. This is wrong. What he did was wrong. Mangione, what he did was wrong. But now there's a but, Bob. This guy may have had CTE, maybe he didn't. The NFL has hidden it, and this is what the NFL gets. But you shouldn't kill anybody.
There's also this. There's a certain matinee idol aspect to Mangione. He's an attractive guy. Who was the guy, I forget the name, involved in the Boston Marathon bombing?
Oh, yeah.
There were marriage proposals directed toward him because he has a certain look. That factors in with Mangione. Now, say what you want about the NFL, and I was among the very first, and I did it persistently, and some people weren't so happy with me from the NFL and from my own network. CTE and football are inseparable. But the idea that this guy had a legitimate grudge against the NFL is ridiculous. The NFL in the last decade has responded as best they possibly can, unless you're going to stop playing football. You can only make it less dangerous. You can't make it completely safe.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.